What's one? Yeah. Oko nyamini, nyamini.
And that is what we're here to talk about.
Nyamiri.
The Nigerian
Koko
youth have
nyamiri,
risen up,
nyamiri.
and they have fought us
Koko
elders.
nyamiri, nyamiri. Ibole, ibole. Ibobo ndamamihe. Ibole, ibole. Ibobo ndamamihe. Ebulanyelu, 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 ebulanyelu. Anamabara na ihe dị njọ ma na-emezi konye ofeke. Anamabara nụ n'ihe dị njọ ma na-emezi konye feke. Igbo bụ n'ụdị ike, ụmụ Igbo bụ n'ụdị ike, ụmụ Igbo bụ.
Otito niile dịrị Chineke, ọbasi dị elu, Chukwu obi ọma, Chidi ebere, Olisa nwa amara, ka ụzọ anyị ọbụla niile bụrụ ihe, ka ihe ọbụla niile anyị kpatara aka bụrụ sọ mma, ka ụwa niile site n'ozi ọma anyị a nwee obi aṅụrị taa mgbe niile ebighị ebi. Ọfọ ya gazie ise o. All praises to Chi the Creator, the Supreme Being, Chi the Good, Chi the Merciful, Chi the Magnificent, with grace. Let everywhere of our lives be light. Let all our acts be crowned with good. And may the world prosper through our ministry, now and forever. So let it be. Amen.
Ndewo, dibia.
Ndewo, cow. Okay, man. I said, we find out for Everything
will be good.
It will work out sooner or later.
We are walking in the light. And we're looking up.
Yes. What do I anelu? Oh yeah. Do I
There's nothing that cannot be solved.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, the challenges we face in this world,
there's plenty of it. There's plenty of challenges all over the world, in Africa, in Nigeria, in the Middle East, with the Palestinian and the Israeli conflict. Here in the United States, the political climate is getting to a point where, it's almost like saying this is the final solution, right? Yes. If they mess up this one, and I'm just being very honest and outright about it. If they mess up in November in the United States, the coming election is over. Because I look at the United States the same way I look at Rome. When Rome imploded from within, never was conquered from outsiders. It's just disintegrated from within. That's the history of Rome.
We're going to be all right. That's that song that says, we're going to be all right. Hey. We gonna be all right.
It gets darker before the morning comes. So
yes. And with Chineke on our side, where can we go wrong? Yeah, but the thing is to remember, with that power, you have to think. You have to use that power to think yourself.
I love that attitude.
You know what I'm saying? It's not nothing is gonna happen, nothing is gonna work right? Just because we're walking with Chineke. You have to bring that mindset, to bear. You have to think positively, not only positively, but you have to take action against whatever it is that's, surrounding us. So we're going to be all right. Like I said early, we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to another episode of Chiism Live. Chiism Live, we are in very difficult times, but we still have to give thanks and praises for this opportunity called today.
Yes, sir.
We're going to welcome the ancestors. I think the first thing we must do is to remind us as African people why we're here. This is our space to discuss who we are from an African spiritual perspective.
Yes.
So before I go any further, first of all, thank you, the emailer, Ka, for the prayer, for welcoming the spirit into the room.
Yes.
And now I ask the ancestors and spirits, we are gathered here today to give reverence and gratitude and acknowledging the wisdom and guidance that you offer, Chineke. You offer, ancestors, Holy Spirits. We offer libation, prayer libation today as a sacred offering, connecting with the energy and presence of those who came before us. Let us remember that we didn't come here by ourselves. We're not here because we just wished ourselves into being. We're here because of our ancestors. So we call upon them, ask for their strength and resilience. They have paved the way for our existence. So for that, we give thanks. We honor their sacrifices and the lessons they have passed down through generations. We're just a part of the picture. Generations that are in receipt of the lessons passed on by our ancestors. May their spirits continue to guide and protect us on our journey. We are on our journey, and someday we're going to become ancestors as well. And what we do today is going to guide the next generation in their own journey, on their own journey. We invoke the spirits of our land, the guardians of nature and the earth. We acknowledge the interconnectedness of all living beings and seek harmony with the natural world. May we be stewards of the land, preserving its beauty and resources for future generations. I offer libations today to honor our community, the bonds that unite us and the power of collective action. Today, may we seek to work together to uplift and empower one another, fostering love, justice, and unity in our society. With this libation, may we find humility and gratitude. May we recognize the interconnectedness of past, present, and future as we inhale and exhale from our collective sacred cup of breath. May we be filled with the wisdom, strength, and blessings of our ancestors and the Holy Spirit. May Chineke hear our words. May Chineke hear our prayers. May Chineke put her loving arms around us. May Chi intervene in our battles, and may Ke put her loving hug, if I may use that expression, to touch us today, hold us together. Let us remember as a people, we are stronger than they say. But the important thing is that we believe that we are, and so it is. As I have said it, so shall it be. He said. He said.
Yeah.
Today we are talking about the factors contributing to the exodus of Christianity. But I caution us, I caution everybody that there will be exodus from any religion that's based on lies. See, lies can take you just so far. Lies can temper anger and quell dissent for just so long. When you take a glass of water, you can only take so much of that water. You can drink and drink and drink, but you know when you are full, you can't drink no more. Because that water now becomes destructive. The more of it you consume, it has side effects. That's what happens when you consume a lot of lies. You take it in and take it in and take it in and take it in and take it in until you can't take it anymore. And you have to stop. What is happening right now to Christianity is because the cup is full now. People don't want to swallow anymore. See, the truth of the matter is that people are asking questions now. And I tell you one thing, truth is a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
It's a very hard pill to swallow.
Bitter hard.
But for our health, we must swallow this truth. Truth now cannot bitter. It cannot be bitter for us anymore. It is the truth. When we embrace the truth, shall we be free? It's good for our health now. It is a must for us to swallow this truth pill. See, we as a people, we have been beat down, stomped on, taught to embrace the ridicule. We've been taught that we have an assigned position in the world that seems to take from those who are gracious and give to those who are mentally weak. We take from the poor and give to the people of means. And that's how we suppress people, by making them think that they should be grateful that they are poor, that they should be grateful that they are undermined, that they should be grateful where they are because they were supposed to serve the master. And you knock that in your head, they knock that in our heads over and over and over and over. And we started to believe it. Our tongue had been severed. For many years, we've got a tongue in our mouth, but we can't use it. We whimper when we should roar. We decry injustice, but we wear injustice as a badge of honor. We've been falling and falling, we've been tripping, but we have stayed down. We don't realize that we can rise. We've been tethered like a dog on a tree who doesn't realize that the chain has been taken off. But the dog sits there because he's been reminded that you've been chained. So you stay right there. That's where you belong. So the dog doesn't move. But after a while, the dog decides it takes just a little something for that dog to say, enough. Even if I'm chained or not changed, I'm out of here. It will see a little rabbit and boom, it goes. This is where we are now. Truth, we see the truth and we're chasing after it. And we're letting the chains fall where they may. This is our reality, and this is why Christianity is struggling today. I'm not here to say that there are no positive things going on in Christianity. There are some good people in Christianity. There are some positive things in Christianity. But right now, it's struggling. It's struggling because now it's got to tell the truth. Tell the people the truth. Tell them the positive things that they should know. Don't keep lying to people and expecting them to stay there. See, Forrest Gump, a fictitious and dim-witted fellow in the movie Forrest Gump, said that his mama told him that life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you are going to get.
I remember that line.
For years, we Africans have been picking through the box of chocolate. But we've only found 4 flavors. 4 flavors: hate, prejudice, delusion, and cultural dearth. We must stop waiting to pick the right flavor. There is only one flavor: truth.
Yep.
Time to wake up, my people. There is no I in team, and there is no truth in lies. Yes, I said it. The reasons for the exodus of Christians from Christianity can vary, obviously, from individual to individual. There are many, many reasons, but I'm going to share just a few of the reasons. For many people, the changing cultural societal norms impacts how they feel about organized religion. As society evolves, certain religious beliefs and practices may clash with the new cultural norms. Some Christians may feel that their beliefs are no longer aligned with changing values of society and choose to distance themselves from organized religion. And so I'm telling all of us, in any form of organized religion, be careful, because this could be you. If your foundation is based on lies, and I don't, sometimes you don't always tell the truth, but the lies you tell should be to help people, not to hurt people. Sometimes you have to tell a lie to get out of a bad situation. And many of you have told certain lies. The lies you tell to hurt somebody will catch up with you. But the lies you tell to help somebody rise from a position of weakness. I can lie to you and say, man, now I know I can see you as a very weak person. You have no mind whatsoever. You acting all crazy. But I can tell you, if I started pumping it in your head, man, you are so powerful. I like to be around you because you just, oh my goodness, you're just somebody. You are awesome. I like to listen to you. Do you know what happens? I'm telling a lie because at that moment, you don't have all that power. But when I put that in your head over and over and over, you start believing it. It's the same thing as telling somebody a lie. You tell that lie over and over and over, they start believing it. So it depends on what lies you're telling. If you tell a person who's weak-minded, but you drum it in their heads that they are powerful, sooner or later they'll start believing it. Another reason why a lot of people are leaving organized religion, particularly Christianity at this time, lack of relevance and connection. There are some individuals who may feel disconnected from religious institutions and find it difficult to relate to the teachings and practices of organized religion. Certain organized religions served a purpose in the past. But if they're not making sense anymore, if you can't relate to them, if you can see through the lies, it becomes difficult to hold on to them, to be a part of them. So you find that many may find more personal and individualistic forms of spirituality that better resonate with their own experiences and beliefs. That's what a lot of us are experiencing. We're letting go because we want to connect with something that resonates better with us, based on our own experiences, based on our own beliefs. Some of the beliefs that we've been told are no good for us, that are bad, and we have believed. If you look at where we are today, if we didn't believe all of that stuff, when somebody tells you that, they can, we praise people, we tell them, on our African continent, we tell them, come and take our stuff. Because they tell you, you're going to get your own. Be patient. See, once you get to the by and by, once you get to heaven, all this good stuff will become yours. So don't worry, let's get our own here. But you're the one that's going to go to heaven and get all your good stuff. But when people start to learn, when people start to research, when people start to see how those things don't correlate to what they are seeing, what they're experiencing, then they become disillusioned. And that's another thing, disillusionment. Now you find that religion, a lot of and Christians get upset. But you see, what is done in your name and you are allowed to be done in your name becomes part of you because of who you are. It becomes who you are. There are too many instances of scandal, corruption, and abuse within Christianity. And this has led to disillusionment among some Christians. Please understand, there are good Christians who are not buying into all of these. And quite frankly, that's why a lot of them are leaving, particularly the young people. They feel betrayed, they feel lost. They lose trust in the leadership and structures that they've been so familiar with growing up. and it prompts them to leave their faith communities ultimately. And then those of us who are going to school become become skeptics. We have intellectual doubts and skepticism. And that's like what is happening to a lot of people. They're experiencing intellectual doubts and skepticism about certain aspects of their faith. They may question long-held beliefs, struggle with reconciling religious teachings with scientific discoveries, or have philosophical objections to certain doctrines. See, what happens is when you start to doubt, it leads to a loss of faith and ultimately an exodus. You all know what an exodus is. People leaving in droves, that's an exodus. Christianity must look at itself, stop making excuses, and ask itself, how do we correct what's going on? Perhaps preaching exclusive truth is not the way to go. The other reason why people tend to leave the church also, personal life experiences. Life events such as personal tragedies, their loss, or difficult circumstances can shake their faith and lead to a reevaluation of their religious belief. Some individuals may find it hard to reconcile their suffering with the concept of a loving and all-powerful God, causing them to distance themselves from Christianity. Because you ask, where is this God during these crazy times? What's going on in Gaza? Where's God? If your description of God is all loving, benevolent, everywhere, is he not seeing this? For some of them, it becomes spiritually conflicting. And they leave it. It is important to know that these are not all the reasons. There are so many other reasons. But you see, each person's journey away from Christianity is unique and deeply personal. The other reason why people are leaving is secularization of religion. See, American society has become increasingly secular in recent decades. So the influence of religion in public life has diminished tremendously. Like before, it used to be the thing, remember way back when, there's really nothing else for people to do but to go to church. Okay. But there's so much more to do in life now. So it has kind of diminished as an essential and necessity for many people. Okay. This has indeed contributed to the decline of religious affiliations and participation among them, particularly American Christians. Now, their Christianity is growing some other places, but here in America, it's just dwindling. And the same thing in Britain. Britain is suffering from an exodus. And then the other thing, the last but not least, I'm just going to stop here with this conversation, the generational shifts. See, the younger generations, such as millennials and Gen Z, they tend to be less religiously affiliated compared to older generations. They tend to be more spiritual. They tend to be in their space. They tend to light candles and put incense, and they tend to just want to be by themselves, to take in the presence of Chineke. They tend to want to block the noise, particularly if they have within them, they understand that some of that noise is not good for them. They don't want to be a part of it. They may have different priorities, though. They may have other things they want to do with their time. They may have developed different values and beliefs that do not align with the traditional religious institutions. And so this generational shift can lead to a decline in the number of Christians and an increase in those who identify as religiously unaffiliated. Oh, one more thing. Cultural changes. American culture has become more diverse and pluralistic. There's an increasing acceptance of different faith traditions, as well as non-religious worldviews. So this cultural diversity can lead some Christians to question or reevaluate their own beliefs, and may result in a departure from traditional Christian practices. UD, the other thing, and then I want you to come in, that really is impacting Christian religion right now, it is that I am right and you are wrong. It's that playing God, you know, identifying people in the community to hate because of their way of life. Yeah, there are some way of life that maybe is different from what is the society has accepted. Okay, let's remember that the society is a collection of rules and regulations set by members of that society. But the fact that you said it doesn't mean that they are not things that you don't know. They're not things that impact behavior that you don't know, that you can't control, because you're not God. You're not Chineke. But people playing Chineke, then they think they have the right to hate certain people. So many Christians find it at odds with certain teachings or stances of their religious institutions. Now, issues such as LGBTQ rights, gender equality, reproductive rights, and social justice can create tensions and conflicts between personal values and religious teachings. This can be a contributing factor in the decision to leave Christianity. There's so much more we can talk about, but I just want to leave it at that. And I want UD, you come in and share your thoughts about what I've just said.
A lot of thoughts to share. It's just a question of being able to put them in the right compartment so that the information, you know, flows where people have a better understanding as to why there's this exodus from the church. It's difficult to say exodus from Abrahamic religions because Islam is not experiencing this much jettisoning of its adherents, or Judaism as much as Christianity, you know, is experiencing today. So if my retort is more specific to Christianism, please understand that it is because this topic is about the church and not about the mosques or people, you know, leaving any other religion other than Christianism, which is what we're talking about today. You know, if I can, I will try to, you know, juxtapose Christianism and Abrahamic religion, and hopefully it will make sense, you know, as we go along. Before I go into this, let me talk about the universal nature of a gospel or a theology, Christianity or not. You know, it could be Urumila, it could be Manichaeism, Zoroastrianism, whatever. You know, there's a macro understanding of religion, spirituality, our relationship with the Creator. It is macro, it is general. And most world religions have this belief that there is a higher being, you know, that runs the show, that controls everything. You know, so you look up, you know, to this supreme being as your protector, as the one that grants you your heart's desires or things that will help you, you know, to live a productive life. And I think one of the reasons why Christianity is losing adherents is the non-universal nature of its doctrine. Okay? The greatest failure of religions today, particularly Abrahamic religions, and to be more specific, Christianity, is its failure to humanize religion. Bring it down from the clouds of unproven theories about heaven and hell and give it a practical touch. Christianism, Abrahamic religions, you know, foreign religions to Africans, because this is in the context of Africa, still believe that they can continue to command the respect of a person with fear-inspiring dogmatism and not with reason, not with a scientific mind in a scientific age. The old Africans' approach to religion was practical. Our concept of God, where God is, and how to get to Chineke is found entrapped in an Igbo proverb that says, Madubuchi Ibeya. You are like Chineke. You are like God to your fellow human being, because all God's blessings come to somebody. This proverb takes God from this high heavens where Chineke has been put and brings Chineke down where you can see Chineke. When you say that man or a human being is like Chineke to his fellow or her fellow human, we mean that Chineke expresses Chineke's presence through people. If you need money and you pray about it, and your neighbor gives you money, let's say you need $100 to pay your light bill, and your neighbor gives you $100 after you have prayed in the morning, then you go and ask your neighbor. And your neighbor gives you the $100 to pay your light bill. You may be required to pay it back. However, your prayer was answered through somebody. So from me to Chineke, there is no distance. Madubuchi Bear, we're all like God to our fellow human beings. So do unto others as you would like God, Chineke, to do unto you. But if you notice in Abrahamic religious dogma, particularly in Christianism, it is wrought with what we call in philosophy exclusive truth. My way or the highway. Too conservative to change. Just conservative, everything about them is conservatism. And that conservatism has a direct relationship with control. How to control you by forcing you to subscribe to their dogma voluntarily or otherwise. If you don't do it, you're going to go to hell. If you don't do it, if you do it, you go to heaven. If you don't do it, we will send you to hell quickly. You have a choice. Either do what we say, or we send you to the ever after through a policy of blood and iron. So the idea that God is not within us, the idea that all evidence, all the life-sustaining forces, including humans, has nothing to do with this old man with a gray beard that you hung up somewhere in the sky that you cannot see or experience until you die and go over there. And they're willing to send you up there real quickly if you don't do what they say. They made the rules. But to make the rules, you have to have the gold. How do you get the gold? You get the gold through violence, not through negotiation. Nobody negotiated the spiritual condition of the African in terms of the Bible or the Quran, in terms of what it is that we adhere today. What we understand of what we believe today was made possible through slavery and colonization. And they wrote it into their Bible and their good books that you should obey your master. Slaves should obey their master. Even in the Bible, Jesus said, Jesus said, give to Chineke what is Chineke, give to God what is God, and to the Caesar what is Caesar's. He made no distinction. As far as Jesus was concerned, I don't want you talking about your slaves. Just give to Caesar what is Caesar's and give to God what belongs to God. God will judge you while you're here. And if he finds you guilty, even though he loves you, he will send you to hell. And if you've done everything that God says that you should do, you go to heaven. But they forget to tell you that it is impossible to obey the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments is just there to try to conform your behavior to have a level of morality. But if you're telling me thou shalt not lie, and you think that you could go through life without telling a white lie. Oh, people lie all the time. You lie to get a job. You lie to save yourself. You lie to save your family. You're not going to let your family go away because God says thou shalt not lie. Let's be practical, people. We know why these laws exist. You can't tell me thou shalt not kill. If my life is threatened, I'm supposed to turn the other cheek, take the sword right in my gut, in the hopes that if I have taken enough slaps on the cheek and turning the other one, that that might qualify me to go to heaven when I'm dead. Meanwhile, my oppressor is enjoying all the fruits of my labor while we are here on this earth. They're not worrying about heaven. They tell you that it's going to be next to impossible for a rich man to get to heaven than a camel to go through the eye of a needle. But I forget to tell you that the same people giving you this commandments through their good book are the richest entities in the world. They're not giving up their money. The King James Bible, the publishers of the King James Bible, is the most powerful publishing house, the richest in the world. But in that same Bible that you're spending $40 on, $100, depending on how it's decorated, all that money goes to their coffers. They're not giving up the purse, are they? But that's for another show. So, by removing a direct relationship with Chineke, with God, the Creator, by removing Chineke from our midst and putting Chineke in some unrelatable domain somewhere in the sky, in space, in the afterlife, that separation right there is one of the biggest reasons why Christianity is losing ground, because there's no universal message in its theology. The idea of exclusive truth, my way or the highway. Do as I say, not as I do. My way or the highway. Exclusive truth is one of the reasons, and it is a micro part of why there is this exodus. You know, there's a macro component, there's a micro. Micro is kind of small, but it really gets to the nitty gritty. The macro is the overall, the umbrella of reasoning, both in economic terms and also in spiritual terms, in civic laws, whatever. Micro versus macro. Greed is another reason. Money, 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 money. Prosperity, religion. What people see is not what is being practiced by these institutions that are telling them that they have to pay their tithes every Sunday. There's not enough. Yet in the Bible, I don't see anywhere in the Bible, the book of John, the book of Matthew, the book of whatever. I don't see where Jesus was sitting in there telling you got to pay your tithes. Or you're not going to be blessed. Or you're not going to go to heaven. Jesus Christ fed 5,000 people preaching a sermon. Turned water into wine. Got him drunk while he was preaching. Walked on water. You know what I'm saying? Rose, the dead was alive again. Without him charging anybody for anything and telling anybody to contribute. Greed. And of course, greed breeds criminality and violence, deception, lies. By any means necessary, through a policy of blood and iron, do what we say or die. It wasn't even about, if you don't accept our theology, when you die, you go to hell. That was just the second option that you had. After they put a sword in you or put a bullet in you for challenging their doctrine. Look at the Crusades. That's what it's all about. Fighting for God, because Chineke, or God in English, is not powerful enough to fight for God's self. So God needs you to kill for him. God needs you to collect his cash. Because this same God that has the ability to create the universe, all the planets, the solar systems, all the crops and plants and animals and insects, every living thing, the rivers, the mountains. This God that has the power to do all that can't handle 3 nails on the cross. Can't pay his bills. He needs you to get money for him. He can do anything unless you do it. You're fighting for the Lord. And the Abrahamic religions, particularly Christianity and Islam, are the only 2 religions that believe that their indoctrination of other tribes is divine, is their God-given right. Chineke died and made them king. And they became king because they have lost their moral compass and are willing to use violence to convince another human being that the way they see God in the Amazon should be identical to the way the Eskimo sees God in Greenland. Even though the evidence of life-sustaining forces, the evidence of God in their environment is almost different. As a matter of fact, what they have in common in terms of the life-sustaining forces is the air they breathe. It's the same air, whether it's in the Amazon or it's in the North Pole. It's the same air. And of course, there are human beings that have blood running through their veins. Other than that, they got nothing in common. Skin tone, the animals in their environment. There are no trees in Greenland. But there are trees in the Amazon jungle. There are no anacondas in Greenland, but you got anacondas. There are no snakes up in Greenland. Not at all, not one. There are snakes everywhere. There are no insects flying around in Greenland. So the Eskimo sees Chineke based on their environment, but goes to the Amazon to tell the Mayan, the Inca, the Aztec that they should start seeing snow in 100-degree temperature or more in the Amazon jungle. That they should start seeing polar bears. And next thing you know, the Mayan, after he'd been stabbed so many times, shot so many times, raped so many times, defiled so many times, lynched so many times, burned alive so many times, through the generations. Suddenly, the jaguar looks like a polar bear. And is now willing to thank the person that continues to take away their freedom for allowing him to see a leopard as a polar bear in the Amazon jungle. It's called Stockholm Syndrome. And this is really, I'm addressing this to people of African ancestry. You know, what happens universally with Christianism is just like what happened in Rome. It will implode. There's no, you're not reeling it back. You're not going to make it disappear. The church is too focused on money and power. It's always been focused on money and power. It's always been too involved in politics. They don't care about theology, and the only theology they care about is the one they're forcing on you. They act like science is the enemy of religion. No, it's not. There is no difference between science and religion, because those things that we couldn't explain away before, we could explain them now. They still exist in the same format, in the same way. We just have a better understanding of how it works. It's called science.
Yes. Yes.
They say science is the enemy of religion, but I don't think it's the enemy of religion. It's never been the enemy of religion, because what we consider religious factors, creation, animals, plants, all these things that we ascribe to a creator, we have scientific understanding and explanation of all those things. So to me, God, Chineke, is a scientist. Chineke put this thing together. Think about the intricate nature of the human body. He took the greatest scientist of all time to put it together, the creator. So science,
the designer of all things living in.
The design of all things, both external in us, out of our solar system, and internal, the designer,
yes,
is the greatest scientist.
Yes, say it again.
Designer.
Yeah.
Let me say this again for people that are about to think that I'm blaspheming. That designer lives in our imagination.
Say it again.
That designer lives in our imagination. And as an African, as a Chiist, it is this understanding that allows me to look at my fellow human being as an extension of this imagination. I look at my environment, those things that sustain me, the plants, the land, the waters, the animals, the insects, all those things that sustain me are part of this imagination. And so my understanding of it allows me to foster a cohesive and loving relationship with all life-sustaining forces, including my fellow human being. This is one of the reasons why people are running in droves away from Christianism, because they do not see this relationship, this universal understanding of a relationship with a fellow human being, and that all God's blessings come through somebody else. Anything beyond that is a miracle. That's why it's called a miracle. Things that are possible, things that we understand as possibilities, practically speaking, that can be done. We consider those things as part of our blessings, as part of our relationship with our life-sustaining environment, which includes fellow human beings. Anything beyond that is a freaking miracle. Excuse the expression. It's a miracle. Miracles almost deal with the impossible happening. That's why it's called a miracle. It's just not in the realm of possibility, and this stuff happens, and your mind is blown. I'll give you an example. You're standing by the shore of a lake, surrounded by mountains. All of a sudden, part of a mountain gives way, and the mountain falls into the lake. And because the mountain fell into the lake, it dispersed a lot of water that went up to tsunamis that were like 1,000 feet high, coming at you at 200 miles an hour and hits you. And somehow you ended up surviving that. That's a miracle, because nobody expected that you would survive it, and your survival had nothing to do with your fellow human being or your environment. 1,000 full feet wall of water at 200 miles an hour hits you, and somehow you survive that. That's a miracle. And it had nothing to do with you asking your friend to protect you from the tsunami that was coming at you. That's a miracle. Then another reason why is sexual exploitation of the church. Now, don't get me wrong, this sexual exploitation it exists in just about every religion. I could tell you something about African spirituality. It may exist in there, but it is so minute That abuse is so minute that it doesn't even come up for conversation because the spiritual process is totally different. There's no boogeyman up there. There's no old man up there. There's no separation between you and the ancestors and the creator. In African spirituality, your conduct is directly related to your karma. So we say, ime mainatama, ime enjoy natanjo, just for practical reasons. If you do good, good things come to you. If you do bad, bad things come to you. But that's on the theological end of things. But practically speaking, there was a great man, loved his neighbors, his family, his children, his wife, loved everybody, did everything for everybody. You couldn't ask for a more spiritual, better human being than this person. He gets on the plane crashes, he dies. He's a good person, but something bad happened to him and his family. You understand where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Reality is different from whatever it is we conjure up in our head that life should be like.
Mm-hmm.
Reality says otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And I deal with realism. I'm not into the fantasy thing. And people in African spirituality, we're not here fantasizing about anything. And if you don't have that relationship, it's hard for you to keep adherence, particularly when most of your adherents came to you by force. Not because you convinced them of anything, but because you gave them an option. Live or die. You choose. So you killed up enough people, created enough fear, put enough kunta kinte into people. If you had seen the movie Roots, they kept whipping your behind till you change your name from Kunta Kinte to Toby or David. Or you change your name from Ngozi to Blessing, even though Blessing and Ngozi mean the same thing. Some of you have names like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And here comes Friday and Saturday. Yeah, these names exist in Africa. And Sunday, particularly with Igbo people. I don't see too many people from the north or from Kenya whose name is Friday or Sunday. 90% of those people are from the Igbo tribe in Nigeria. I just have to throw that in there. Then, another reason why people are living in droves is the church is too conservative. Because conservatism does not allow change. You can't be one thing all the time. You have to be flexible.
Yes.
And it's because of this conservative nature.
So called. Because of this conservatism, they don't allow for change. Times change, mentalities change. People think differently. The way we think today is not the way we thought 200, 300, 400, 5,000 years ago. Times change. Science comes into play. Things that you thought were impossible, you cannot get on a plane and fly, and within 7 hours, 9 hours, you're in Nigeria. Something that would take you 3 months to do, but you could do it now in a matter of hours. If you did that 1,000 years ago, that probably would have earned you a place at the stake, being burned alive for being a witch or a wizard. Yes.
Just because you are able to cure a disease because of your ability, your intelligence, your understanding of how things work and how you could put things together to take care of certain ailments. If you did that in the Dark Ages, I guarantee you, you were a dead man or woman. Ignorance is promoted by Abrahamic religions, particularly Christianism and Islam. They tell you one thing, but innately they mean something else.
Yes. Yes.
Do what we say. We need that money. We need that power. We're hungry for it. Do what we say or we will kill you. Boko Haram in Nigeria, ISIS, I think the first time, the Crusades. There were over 20-something crusades. We just know about the one in Jerusalem. We don't talk about the ones that the Catholic Church just went into France, the Cathars of France, and destroyed other Christians. As long as you are not Catholic, you are not worthy of God's blessings. And they got rid of you. And when they were killing you as a Christian And the soldiers were wondering, why are we killing Christians? Their commanders would tell them, kill them. Whenever they get to heaven, during judgment, God will know who belongs to him and who belongs to the devil. It is not our job to figure out which Christian is what. Just kill them all. Unless they're Catholic, kill all of them. When they get to heaven, they can have that conversation with God. This is true story. This is history. I'm telling you. Check it out. We have also in Abrahamic religion separated the Creator from us. We don't see God in any other human being. What we see are obstacles and challenges to our superiority complex that we suffer from as Christians. Let's blame all the women for the problems in the world. Adam and Eve ate the apple. Lot turned around when God told them not to. Man lost his strength because this lady witch called Delilah pulled him down. Solomon was doing just fine with his 600 wives or whatever till this woman, the Queen of Sheba, came around. Everything bad is blamed on the woman. Everything good belongs to the man. So you have this thing with Christianism and sexism and the church where they tell you that a woman, because of putting a man's morality and his spiritual relationship with God, destroying it, biblically speaking, disqualifies her as an equal partner to a man. So you cut her out of your ecclesiastical circles. Oh, yeah, no, you know, she's good enough for you to go to bed with and have babies, but she ain't good enough to talk about God. But she's good enough to push you out. But she's not good enough to be a vessel, whatever that means. So the separation of man and woman is another reason. The young folks, the millennials, this divorce from reality that life changes. Life is about changing, exodus, moving from one state to another, understanding, learning, growth. All that stuff have to be accommodated in theology. Otherwise, you become too conservative to change. And if you're too conservative to change, you will die because time is not going to readjust itself for you to maintain your conservatism. And the only way you can maintain that conservatism is by lying, greed, criminality, violence, sexual exploitation, deception. That is the only way you can maintain that conservative frame of mind, way of thinking. And finally, separation of church and state. Now that's a deep conversation. What does that really mean? Has there ever been separation of church and state? No. As a matter of fact, it is impossible. Even in African spirituality, at the end of the year, during the New Yam Festival, the whole community comes, gathers together in prayer, and the Eze comes and says prayer, blesses all the children. The Eze is a state official. It is happening within the state where that blessing is happening. So you cannot separate the both of them. Otherwise, it wouldn't be necessary for the Eze to come and say a prayer and bless all the newborn babies and bless the harvest. He's a government official. He is the government. He's part of it. So there's no separation of church and state. It doesn't exist. Where it does exist is in a society where you say that live and let live is not a part of the political climate here. We must institute this particular theology as part of our governance, and anybody that falls outside of this theology is enemy of the state. That's where the separation of church and state comes in, because everybody, for the most part, don't quote me on that, I'm just saying for the most part, everybody you see in government has a spiritual or religious affiliation. So you cannot get the religion out of them. They could be Muslim, they could be Christian, they could be Buddhist, they could be Theist, they could be Zoroastrians, whatever.
Yeah.
They have religion in them already. You can't get rid of it. It is when it becomes law that a particular theology should be the only one that is acceptable. That's when separation of church and state comes in, not on the spiritual level, but when a state dictates to its citizens that only one specific theology is acceptable, because that theology serves the purpose or serves the government in terms of its ability to control the population. That's where it comes in. And in America, specifically, that separation of church and state doesn't exist on the conservative side, on the Republican side, because like Trump selling his $60 Bibles and putting the state constitution in there and attempting to marry religion with politics, and has no shame or squirms about making it public by hawking a Bible and putting the Constitution of the United States in there and telling the people that buy his Bible that that's what the founding fathers intended. Even though we all know that the founding fathers were trying to get the hell away from the church as much as they possibly could, and the Church of England, controlled by King George. But nobody talks about that. So these are some of the reasons why people are there's this mass exodus. You're not practicing what you preach, exclusive truth. There's no spirituality in your doctrine. There's no tolerance of other human beings. There's no adjustment for changing times. Look, I'm not into the LGBT community and all that kind of stuff. To me, these are choices kind of things. And it's a lifestyle thing. Do your own thing. Just don't, it's on you. Do you. But I don't have a right as a state to control this community by instituting religious laws.
Because which religious law are we using?
Exactly. Because I want to control those people. I want to make sure I don't like them. They shouldn't exist. So I'm going to use a religion, and then I'm going to quote everywhere that I can in the Bible where it says that these people are the curse. But at the same time, in that same Bible, it says, do unto others as you like others to do unto you. Love your neighbor as you love thyself.
Okay.
What happened to that? Don't tell me Jesus came back. Jesus came back to say that the LGBTQ community are a bunch of devil worshippers and should go to hell. Then if that's the case, then you need to rewrite your Bible and take the 10 Commandments out of that.
Say it again.
Yeah. Rewrite the Bible, take the 10 Commandments out of that so we don't have to deal with it.
You cannot carry the Bible to church, right? And tell people, turn to page this, turn to page that, right?
Yeah.
And in that page, what you're saying contradicts what's written.
Exactly. I mean, all day long, they just contradict the whole thing. But you see that people are like zombies. They've been hypnotized for centuries. This thing just didn't happen yesterday. It didn't happen in 1960. It sure didn't happen during slavery. This thing, it's over 2,000 years old. It's taking...
Dibia, I just want to throw something in there. People actually get offended when the image of Jesus is black.
Yeah.
When the image is presented with dreads and all of that. See, if I'm going to praise my God, if God looks like me, right?
Yeah.
If we are made in the image of God, as you say in your Bible.
Yeah.
Then what's wrong with me creating an image of this God to look like me? Is that what you said? If it looks like me, if
because the intention, the intention is not universal. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not universal messaging, right? It tells you that one size fits all. God is white, right? He is white because we brought our God, white God, to you.
Yes.
And we're not saying you didn't have any God or that you didn't believe in it. If you listen to Lord Lugar's speech, he said the same thing. We're not going into Africa to show these people something that they don't already know. They already know these things. We're not telling them anything they don't know. They already know all that stuff. We just need to tell them that what they have, that ours is better than theirs. That is your mission. Your mission is not to come in there and then tell them, hey, you know, teach them about God. They know right from wrong already. They know all that stuff. So you ain't teaching them nothing. Yeah. Not a blood.
Because we want to take from them, this is what it's going to take. This is what messaging you have to impart upon them.
Yeah.
So that they don't value what they have. They will value us. I just want to throw this in there. Are you okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
You're frozen.
I'm frozen.
Okay. So, did you have any other points you want to add to that?
No, I just, I brought the Lord Lugar thing out, and then pretty much, the separation of church and state and all that kind of stuff, and the idea that the millennials and people today, based on all these things that the church has been doing, for all these centuries, you come to find out that all these sins in the beginning, in terms of misunderstanding dogma and all that stuff of Christianity, really the Catholic Church poisoned the world. And they poisoned the world so bad that this exodus you are seeing started with the Protestant movement in the 16th century with Martin Luther. When what was being preached was not what was being practiced. And it continued into the 19th century. Then when you had the Baptists and all this, and then you have all these Protestant churches and different Christian denominations sprouting over. It was part of this exodus from the Catholic Church. Then they themselves now left the Catholic Church, even though the Catholic Church is still the largest Christian entity in the world, and started their different, Christian denominations with millions of followers. Then got into another one, for example, they called prosperity religion. We're already dealing with the sexual abuse of priests on children, which was an eye-opener, and the Pope even apologized, and Ireland saw a whole lot of that stuff. So did Africa. These young children with the Catholic priests in Africa being raped left and right by these white Catholic bastards in Africa.
Man,
then you have the prosperity religion doing the same sexual abuse, but even worse, now telling you that if you don't pay tithes, you're not going to be blessed.
Yeah, you have to pay Jesus's bill.
Yeah, you start seeing a lot of stuff. You start watching videos, and you start seeing a lot of sick behavior by the priests, and even sicker behavior by the adherents that are gullible and stupid enough to buy into this nonsense that this preacher can raise the dead. So they actually go to a grave, pick up a girl that was just buried. The baby is about 1 year or 2 years old. And here's the preacher trying to resurrect this baby.
For money. I want to go to the next segment of this, because we can be
anyway, that's my bit, and I hope I made
Yes, you did.
What I was saying. Yeah.
Absolutely. And now we got to go into the next segment, because a question that was presented was, okay, So you don't like Christianity. So you don't like Islam. I said, that's not the point. It's not the point. It's not about liking or not liking. It's about truth saying. It's about telling the truth now. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. When you're a child, you're led by your mom and dad. But when you become an adult, you're led by your heart and your mind. You're supposed to be able to now think on your own. You understand? So when we get to a certain level, it becomes our responsibility to think and argue to make sense of what is being presented to us. Now, somebody asked me, okay, so what does African spirituality have to offer? If it's not all that voodoo thing, voodoo. I said the reason why you don't understand what Africa has to offer is because you don't know. You've been told not to know, so you don't know. African spirituality is powerful, but one of the things that we need to realize about African spirituality, it involves providing guidance. Listen to what I'm saying. UD, stop me if I'm wrong. It's about providing guidance and support and healing based on African spiritual beliefs and practices. You see what I'm saying? It is not a matter of this is the way, that the only way. It's guidance. And there are a range of elements that we use. That ancestral connection, it's so powerful because that's who you are. That's who you are. When you have a religion that's tearing you away from your ancestral connection, there's no healing there. But we say who you are is important. This is what African spirituality offers. This is what Jesus offers. Ancestral connection, because your ancestors matter, and because they matter, you matter. So we emphasize, Jesus emphasizes the importance of connecting with one's ancestors spiritually. See, you have to honor them for you to be honored eventually. They laid the way, they laid the foundation. Seeking guidance from our ancestors is not through rituals and prayers and all that. It's not a negative thing. Through offerings, go to the church, see what they do. They're offering, making offerings to their ancestors. They're seeking guidance from their ancestors. Listen to what they're saying. They're following processes that their ancestors followed. But you, on the other hand, you're not supposed to do that. One of the things that African spirituality is engaged in is divination. It's a very powerful part of it. It involves using various tools, just like the Christians use various tools. We use oracles, astrology, shells, to gain insight into a person's life. Listen to what we're saying. In African spirituality, we want to know about you. We want to know about you. We want to gain insight about who you are. What are the challenges that you're experiencing? And what are the potential solutions? We don't put your problems in the hands of a mysterious person in the clouds. You're dealing with another human being who is interested in what is going on in your life and is there to help you to solve it through experiences, through astrology, through looking at what your ancestors did before. You don't always have to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes what they did and used to solve problems, you call it primitive, you call it whatever you want. Did it solve the problem? It's not how they did it. It's, do you get the message that the problem gets solved? That's the issue. It doesn't have to be a pill to solve the problem. It could be an herb that our ancestors used to solve the problem. So when they visualize, when they can understand what your issues are, they go back to how we solved those problems in the past. They use rituals and ceremonies. Because rituals and ceremonies are very important when it comes to addressing spiritual and emotional, psychological issues. Somebody told me, well, you know, you can't tell, we don't want to talk about spiritual. You know, when you talk about spiritual, Christians get mad. I said, what about spirituality can make you mad or frighten you? When all spirituality is a source that you use to heal yourself, to understand your environment, to understand your world, to connect to the divine. Why is it that when an African is telling you how it's done, then that's something for you to be scared of? African spirituality is so basic. It's just a direct communication. What are the rituals that we get engaged in? Now, when we do Chiism Live, we're talking about different social issues and what have you. But when you actually come to a service and or to do Obiobase, we use rituals, and these rituals can involve, you know, pouring of libations, prayers. It could involve, in some cases, some level of chanting, drumming, dancing, and the use of symbolic objects. These are simplistic things. It doesn't involve too much. We don't have to be in a fancy cathedral. God doesn't need cathedrals. God doesn't need anything fancy. Right where you are, Chineke is. Right where you are, you can worship the Creator with whatever symbolic objects is necessary. The point is to get the message or pass the message along by any means necessary. There's nothing wrong with how Africans did it, how our ancestors did it. What can you get from African spirituality? Healing and cleansing. The key thing that African spirituality wants to do is promote healing, cleansing on multiple levels, physical, emotional, and spiritual. That's why we have different dibias. Dibias that are involved in physical healing, dibias that are involved in emotional healing, spiritual healing, energy healing techniques, herbal remedies. We have all of that, baths or other traditional practices. But listen to what I'm saying. Yudi, are you hearing me? Mm-hmm. What we're saying is that what Africans do in terms of the spirituality is use what is around you to heal you.
Yeah, micro level.
Thank you. Right where you are. We're not trying to tell you that if you don't do this, you're going to burn somewhere. Instead, what we tell you is do good. Do good. You do good, you get goodness back. There are communities where a man who is bad, they don't beat him. In the past, they did. What they do is they keep pouring him with positivity. Do you know whose child you belong to? What village you come from? Back then, your forefathers did this. Your forefathers did. And they talk so positive to the person that he himself or herself becomes embarrassed for their behavior. And they change the behavior. They don't put you in jail. Back then, did we have jails?
No, the spiritual culture was in such a way from the time you were born that you just grew up an upright member of the society. Anything outside that was maybe you have some birth defect, some kind of mental issue or something, but it is not because you were not socialized into knowing what's right or wrong.
Yeah. So when you ask me, so what is in African spirituality? Connection with nature. Connection with nature. There's so much emphasis on connection between individuals and the natural world. This is so important. At Cheese University, I teach natural theology. Connection to the natural world, and encourages you to attune yourselves to the rhythms of nature, seek guidance from natural elements, and engage in practices that prompt harmony with the environment. If you want to know what nature is, the spirituality of the African, take a long walk early in the morning. Don't say a word. Don't take your cell phone. Just take a walk and listen to nature. Listen to nature talk to you. When you become in harmony with your environment, it heals you spiritually. The DBS recommend that. You get in tune with the natural elements. Some of the things that are driving you crazy is the new world we're in. And some of the things that we hear in the news, that we see in the, we've gotten so cold towards negativity, murder. I was watching a video where a man saw another human being being bitten by dogs. He's standing there videotaping an old man being attacked by dogs. And he's saying nothing. He just wants to capture it. What kind of spirituality is that? But you're supposed to be in tune with nature, with your environment. So if you see something that doesn't look good, something that doesn't work in that environment, you are supposed to intervene. You're supposed to be the solution. You don't stand there taking videos of a poor man being beaten up by dogs. Our spirituality requires that we are spiritual people. And by that I mean that we are supportive of each other. We are part of community support. That's who we are. There's a song that we sing as a reminder that this world belongs to everybody and you are part of it. You're not a part of it after your death. You're part of it right now. And you have to honor and respect your fellow man. You're supposed to honor nature. You did the song. This is our spirituality. Look up, look down, look all around you. See all the beauty created by the divine. Everything in this world, no matter where they are, beautiful or ugly, tall or short, they all receive the blessings of the Most High in equal amount. So you are not better off than anybody. When I'm taking in breath, I'm not sucking up all the air because it's not just for me. It's for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. So even the animals, the lower animals, they need air. Everything in nature belongs to all of us. If you want to be a spiritual person, understand that. Be a part of the community and give community support. Give support to your elders, to your leaders, to fellow community members. Everybody gets, but you have people who have gotten so religious that they think that they're so superior that they can tell everybody else who's going to go to heaven, who's not going to go to heaven, whose way of life is bad, no.
They want to give you the air you breathe.
They want to tell you the air you breathe.
Yeah.
See, African spirituality is communal.
Yeah.
We preach a sense of belonging and communal thinking, shared experiences, understanding. See, the way you understand that this world is not just yours is that when you die, the air still will be there.
Yeah.
The trees will still be there. Everybody else will still be sucking in air with you not being there. So you don't own anything all to yourself. Our spirituality says, honor other human beings. Honor everybody. And do the best you can as a member of the community to uplift others. Uplift others. My organization has a program that we do. And in this program, the African Women Mobilization, we have OMSI Cares. We go in the street and we find somebody. We find somebody who has a need. And we bring her, we just give her money. It's not organized. It's just, it just is. We just find them, and I want to play that video for you because this is the attitude all of us should have. This is the attitude we should have. We should always be cognizant that we are the cause and the reason for making somebody's life much better than our own. You know, every one of us have the capacity to make a difference in this world. So I just want to share this little video with you. And this is a spiritual way of living.
Sorry to bother.
No problem.
My name is.
My name is Immaculate.
I hope you don't mind.
No problem, sir.
What do you do for living?
I hawk momo every day from Olapo. Yes.
So distance from this Olapo to a kiss, like.
Hey, it's far, very far. Yes.
So for like, how long have you been doing?
Since
hard work. So can you? I hope you don't mind. How much do you earn daily? So your daily profit. How much do you make daily?
Well, sometimes I earn 1,000, 3,000, depending on business. And then sometimes 5,000. Yes.
I heard that a gains of business is now 5,000. So how are you managing? How much are you making?
2,000 because I don't have anything to say. If I did not work, I can't feed my children. So at the cost means I only earn 2,000 every day, just to manage to make sure I give my children food. Well, I need financial support. I need my business. Even I need a shop so that I can able to add some other things to help myself out.
Congratulations! I'm here to make your wish come through on this initiative. Our president, Dr. Wanya, she wants you to know that she's giving you
Wow! Thank you, Chai. God bless you, sir. Chai, Chineke mu gozere m you. When ga keshere na mmaji puru mmaji. Thank you so much. Thank you. Chai. I only want to say is may the God Almighty provide it back to in billions fold. Amen. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
You say.
This is what our spirit is supposed to make us do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every Saturday we present another woman. We just go randomly, and our dear Ukuna Charles Ugochukwu is the one that goes and finds the women, and then we send them money. And I just want everybody to know that's this African spiritual way of living. Helping others. We're not telling people they're good enough or not good enough. Just going out there. Hey, thank you. There you go. That right there. We're God to each other. That's our spirituality. We're not telling you to wait till you die so goodness will come. We'll never tell that woman. That woman is not interested in dying, so she'll go and get food for her children. She's living.
That money didn't fall from the heaven.
Yes, she's living that reality right now. Manna doesn't come from it. You're right. It's gonna go. If he made Madibe, what you do for another human, that's how Chineke will do for you. So our spirituality is about building us up, not just building us up as individuals, but building up the community. But we don't want you to think that there's somebody else controlling you. That power that we're looking for is already in you. This is the gift that Chineke has given us. We just need to act it into the present, so it becomes our reality, so it becomes our destiny. Now, things are going to happen in life, and sometimes we just say, "Oh, it's God's will." No, all Chineke is obligated to do is guide you when you need guidance, but it's giving you a life, hands, legs, feet, mouth, nose, all the essentials. You've gotten all the essentials, but you're still waiting to die, lose all those senses before he bless. You talk to me.
I mean, it's all about, listen, Listen, I don't know if you're done. Let me just say, you could lose your mind when you start thinking about the stupid way we treat one another, the idiocy, our understanding of spirituality and all that. You could really, really lose your mind. Let me just take a couple of things that you said. First of all, you were talking about, this person was talking about the fact that apart from the voodoo magic stuff, what else does African? My answer to this guy is simply this. Name one religion that is not about magic. Name one religion. Name a religion that is not about the supernatural and the superstition. Religion and God is based on the magic. If you don't believe that the Creator has powers that transcend the impossible, then you should be out of the religion business.
Yes.
The reason why we believe in all this stuff, most of it made up in our mind based on the evidence before us, is that we believe that Chineke can do magic, can cure sickness, can help you, can bring things in front of you that will help to mobilize you and help you grow your health, your life. When we pray, we break kola nut and we're pouring libation. We say, Chineke, Obasi Dielu, Chukwu Obioma, Chidi Ebere, Olisa Nwama. Omumo Arisike Ogologo Ndo, Ifeanyi Heji Zumu. These are all you pretty much ask for in any religion, because it covers everything.
Yes.
And you only ask for it because you believe that Chineke has the power to grant your heart desires, as long as it's positive. And as long as you're positive in your thinking. I also said, and I remember having this conversation, we was in front of, I was taking him to Hotel Presidential Enugu. They have the Igbo meetings of the Igbo leaders of thought. I remember him sitting in the back. I forgot what the conversation about, but I said that I should remember that even a thief prays to God before he burgles, before he steals. And that if he steals successfully, guess who he gives the praise to? God. So whatever you think God is, it's only dependent on your own conjecture of what God is. God means different things to different religions, to different people. In Christianity, their God tells them, if you kill somebody who is not a Christian, in Islam, if you murder somebody who is not a Muslim, doesn't matter what you say in your good book, but your practical application is you're fighting for God.
Yes.
You're doing it for God. Don't worry about going to hell. God got your back in this murder. Don't worry about it. Onward, Christian soldiers. And then off you go. And they turn around and tell me that African spirituality and religion is about magic and voodoo. All religions are about magic, not voodoo. Because voodoo is a corrupt word for voodoo, which simply means Mother Earth. Annie.
Yes.
That's it.
Dibia Chedozie is in now. I'm sorry, because of the time constraints, let's give him a little time.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. No, thank you for what you shared. Very, very important. But before I leave this segment and bring Dibia Chedozie, just so it's important that everybody understands African spirituality varies across different regions, okay, and traditions within Africa. But the specific practice and beliefs may differ, but overall goal remains to provide guidance, healing, and spiritual support to individuals, not to tell people what the consequences are or where they're going to burn up and all that sort of thing. But at this time, I just want to bring in Dibia Chedozie. Dibia, Welcome.
Yeah.
What happened to you?
That red cap is
I'm
loving it.
Sometimes I get confused. I don't know if the program is 3.
Here.
Is it 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. our time?
It's 10 o'clock in the morning here, which is 3.
It's 3 p.m. your time.
Yeah, it's 3 p.m. your
All
time.
right, so I won't make that mistake next week. Hey, give your charge. I can I saw the topic and thank you, sir. I saw the topic and I'm lucky I met Dibio Charger saying something, and it's exactly along my own line of thought. You know, this issue of religion. So Christianity has derailed from spirituality. It has become a religion, and religion is a pure man to man or woman to woman or human to human activity. It's about human beings regulating themselves, exploiting themselves, and it doesn't take too long for people to begin to wise up, because like our people say, onye wayo outuboro ko yebugi wayo ga mata ihe. So people, even down here, people are getting conscious that most of the church is about business, and that what Fela sang years ago, that church is business, religion is business. Majek Fashek sang his own too, religion is politics. Some of them are Pharisee. So a lot of people are getting to realize that, and they are really waiting for alternative. And it may be the reason for why you find that the youths are very desperate these days, and because religion doesn't mean anything to them anymore. And then people have gotten aware of the fact that most of the people those days that you call magicians have disappeared into the church, because they discovered that they make more money in the churches than doing the magic all around, moving from place to place and performing magic. So they take such acts to the church and they use it in the church. And that's exactly what it means when you leave spirituality and focus on mammoth. What that means is that, like people will say, meaning simply that all material things must collapse back into spirit. That's why African spirituality, chief spirituality, says that spirit is not the only reality, it is not the sole reality, but is the primary reality that gave birth to the material world, and all material things will collapse back into spirit and again come into being from the spirit world, and they call that reincarnation. So everything everything has its own time. But Christianity is burning out fast because it's focusing on mammoth. And then that's one aspect. Then the Christian nations are more after money than upholding the religion. Islam is spreading not because they have humanity at heart, but because Muslims promote Islam by forcefully imposing Islam upon the world. And they target the ruling class. Once they capture the president of a country or they capture the leadership of a country, then they begin Islam is now made official religion. So that's their pattern. The Indians and the are using that here too. They come to the school, they want to capture the HOD of a department, the dean of a faculty, the VC of the university, so that through that way they can bring in the teaching of Hindu or Indian religions or spiritualities. So religions are spreading, but for me, the main reason is that Christianity has derailed from the fundamental goal of religion, of spirituality. The fundamental goal of spirituality is not to preach about heaven. It's not about salvation. It's not about enriching people. It's about helping human beings to actualize the divine in them, so that this divine divineness in the human being can manifest in the society in the form of justice, equity, and fairness.
Yes.
That's what, and that's what they mean by the fear of God. That a virtuous life, righteousness. So it's when you live that kind of life that you'll be qualified for salvation. And so, but if you make salvation the focus, then you leave the actualization of the divine in the human being. But that kind of vocation is not something for someone who wants to live a life of panache. Because if you listen to Christian songs these days, it's all about, before I knew Jesus, I was suffering, things were bad for me. Since I got Jesus, I see the kind of life I'm living in, I see the kind of wife I've married, see my children, all of them are schooling abroad, and all of that, and all of that. So I ask if that is what God gives to you, Christ gives to you when you get converted to Christianity, same for Islam, then what does God give? What will Satan give? Because those are the gifts of Satan. The gift of God is about knowledge and wisdom. For you to be an inventor, creator, for you to solve people's problems, that's the gift of God. And that one is Eriwa Gwagu, Ushimiatata. That one is inexhaustible. But this one that you single out of all the people, your miracle is on the way. Wait for your own. Then before I know Jesus, my life no better. My life be condemned. Since why I don't collect Jesus? See, my house, the mansion that they live. My wife, the most beautiful woman. My children, the most beautiful children. My car, panache. My children, schooling abroad. And they go abroad and they come. Now because of the grace of Christ. So you see, these things, it does not take Christianity to get them. And once people, the worst that will happen is that people will hop on Christianity and become wolves in sheep's clothing to get those things by any means, and then use Christianity to cover it. And over time, a bad perfume is a bad perfume, no matter how you conceal it. And a stench is a stench, no matter how you conceal it. And so for now, what is happening is that the stench of Christianity is smelling out, and the youths are getting desperate. And so for me, that's how I understand the topic. Thank you.
Perfect summation. Couldn't have done any better. That's beautiful.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And I think that what people need to understand, what we're saying here, is it is quite complex. You know, the decision to leave Christianity is a complex thing, and it's very, very deeply personal to individuals. You know, many of them, for the reasons that you both have highlighted here, and as well as I have, you know, is a combination of societal, cultural, and personal factors. But the point of the point that Christianity and any religion, you know, don't take offense. Don't take offense, because the reason why two people go into battle, or two people go into two boxers go into the ring, is to find out who who's a bigger fighter. Okay, and then if you're knocked down, you're either going to get up or you're going to lay down there. You're supposed to learn a lesson from being from being knocked out. What you're going through now is you're in the ring and people are knocking you. There are so many people, many different religions or ways of life, spirituality, and they're knocking you, and you're either going to rise up and face the fact that what you're doing, you know, the postures that you're putting up, you know, how you're putting up your hand, you're not, you know, you're getting knocked out. You're going to have to relearn. You're going to have to learn how to fight. You don't get mad and start cursing people out, because I know there are going to be some folks who go, oh, you blasphemy, you're going to go to hell, and all that kind of stuff. Well, let me tell you something. If I don't believe in hell, I'm not afraid to go to hell. So that is not the solution. Okay? The solution is for you to understand that you have to change with the times. I think every religion, if the intention is good, has a right to exist. I would like to see Christianity exist if it does the right thing. If you're not consistently preaching exclusive truth, you're going to be where you are today. Any religion, Islam, name it. Okay? Shiism too. Every one of us. If our role is to build people up, people are less inclined to want to come and hear what you have to say. It may not come in droves. You know, we're not throwing around magic here. It's just common sense. It's just common sense. If you pay attention, you find that, hey, listen, all those troubles that you're having, some of it you can, most of it really, you can solve, but when you give away your power to something else, something imaginary, you continue to be weak. You're not going to be able to solve your problem. So what Chiism is saying is the power that you're looking for, right where you are, God is. Come on now, let's wake up. Let's wake up. We cannot continue. When we started today, I did indicate very honestly that it's time to tell the truth. It's time to tell the truth. I said it earlier. It's not easy to swallow the truth. It's not easy it's a hard pill to swallow. Most people don't want to hear the truth. Most people feel better just cussing you out, saying you are blasphemous. What you're doing, you're going to burn in hell. And God help you if you have a toothache. Well, there you see, I told you. If you didn't believe in Jesus, you wouldn't have that toothache. And as I said earlier, we've been beaten down so much that we believe these things. I'm not who I am. I'm not here to beat you down. I'm not here to stomp on Christianity or beat Christianity down. I'm here to tell Christianity that you have a responsibility to your congregants to allow them to think. You have a responsibility to tell them the truth. Tell them the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Because if you don't tell the truth, people are going to get tired. People are tired of being ridiculed, stomped on. People are tired of being made to feel that their position in the world is where they're going to stay. People are tired of seeing images that look like them and it's negative. How many black kids will continue to see the devil as black and feel good about themselves? The Easter Bunny is white. And if you tell him the Easter Bunny can be black, a little black kid cannot imagine Easter Bunny as black. Easter Bunny is white. Santa Claus is white. Jesus Christ is white. Everything positive is white. Black magic is negative. White magic is positive. When we continue to build up people, bring down people's self-esteem and expect them to continue to be a part of this reality, you're going to fail and you're going to continue to fail. But every religion, the intention of every religion is positive. But we got to practice positivity. We cannot take from the poor and give to the rich and think that's okay. Like what you see in politics here. They're talking about taking away people's social security. Why in the world would you want to do that? What is noble about taking little? What do people get in social security? Little bitty money? Oh, elders. That's all they depend on. For some of them, that's all they have. Not everybody has a big fat investment for 401k. There are people who have nothing. And Social Security is all they have. Then you have people in the house that want to take that away. And they are bragging. They're sitting around clapping. The Speaker of the House is going to introduce this bill to take $1 trillion from Social Security. But then we're going to give taxes to cut the taxes of the wealthy. What are you doing? And a lot of Christians are buying into this. Where is the humanity? Where is the love of Chineke? Where is the love of God? Where is Jesus in this whole picture? Because Jesus was helping the poor. So sooner or later, those whose tongues have been severed are now beginning to talk. Those whose minds have been closed are now beginning to think. Those who have been whimpering all their lives are now beginning to roar. Those who decry injustice are not willing to wear it as a badge anymore. They don't want to wear it as a badge of honor. Those who have tripped in the past, they are standing up. They're not staying there. They're rising. They're teaching about truth. They're singing about truth. They're becoming truthful. They're becoming wrapped in the goodness of Chineke, which is truth. So, you want to grow? Tell the truth. Tell the people about who they are. Make them feel proud of who they are. A proud human being will accept and appreciate anything. But a weak one it's not healthy. It's not doing well. Ultimately, they'll get tired of it. They'll get tired of it. You beat a man down and beat him and beat him. You can't beat him any further when he's down. The only way up is for him to get up. And he may just pick up a stick and hit you back, because it's not going to stay there. So the exodus is what you're creating for yourselves. At some point, every religion has got to base its foundational principles on uplifting people spiritually, not keeping them down or making them feel bad about who they are, because that is not the purpose. It shouldn't be. If you're a religionist, think about that. UD?
Just real briefly, very powerful points you just made. Power corrupts. In 378 AD, the Catholic Church was granted the power to function as a corporation and make its own rules and prosecute. And so the Pope wrote a papal bull that read, "From here henceforth, all our supporters shall be known as Catholic Christians. As for the rest, they will suffer the consequences of our punishment, of which we shall enforce." They got absolute power. And as you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Christianity and Abrahamic religions, they promote ignorance, intolerance. All Abrahamic religions, particularly Islam and Christianism. And I don't know, but I'm sure that you've observed that from the time you went to primary school, high school, you go to college, you get your master's degree and your PhD, unless you are specialized in theology or anything that has to do with your contribution as a people to civilized behavior, nobody ever taught you any contributions that African people ever made to civilization. All we learned was European contribution to civilization. We didn't read much about Chinese unless you have names that are infallible, like, what do you call it, Genghis Khan, or maybe some really Kublai Khan, somebody like that. You knew nothing about Japanese shoguns and all that stuff till I came to the United States anyway, or maybe because I dabbled in martial arts for a little bit before I understood, you know, the ninjas and all that. But your schooling as an African, African-American, Jamaican, Haitian, it doesn't matter. If you're black, you're African. If you're from that continent, which we all come from.
Yes.
We were submerged into this scholarship that only dealt with our enslavers and our colonizers' history and whatever contributions they made to civilized behavior. Nobody talked about the African civilization and any contribution we made in 1,000 years. Whenever you brought in an African in there, it had to do with an African that was promoting Islam, like Mansa Musa, Usman Dan Fodio, Ibn Battuta, Sekou Touré, all these people that Islamized sub-Saharan Africa. That's what you talk about. But you never talk about anybody who is African, man or woman, that contributed anything to civilized behavior in our schooling, unless you are specialized in some area of humanities or religion or something. And finally, let me just say this right quick. To answer the question of that gentleman that you spoke with that posed the magic and all that to you, love is the highest spirituality. That's Shiism. That's what we preach. Any religion that cannot make its adherents to love, tolerate, live in harmony with the members of other religions is no religion at all. The mutual killings ravaging the religious front everywhere in the world, in Nigeria, the Gaza, ISIS, what's going on in Israel and Hamas, it tells one sad story that just now the world has no true religion. This is the vacuum that Ofufechi Chiism. This is the vacuum that African spirituality has come to fill, to preach love, live love, as a reemergence of the divine spiritual civilization of Biri Kambiri, live and let live from ancient Africa. That's my bit.
Yeah, thank you. And that love you spoke of, UD, has to start from you loving yourself.
Within,
you can't love anybody. You cannot create love in society or anywhere if you don't love yourself. You got to what you see in the mirror. You have to fall in love with who you are before you can fall in love. Have you ever had, and I'll let you do your coming. Have you ever had a situation, or I've seen a situation where a beautiful person is coming through, right? A wonderful, a good-looking woman or a good-looking man, and then you look at the person next to them, right? Not necessarily coming in with them, but the person next to them, then they have their heads down, or they don't want to look at them because of the inferiority. And that's what it is. When you see other people, because you've been conditioned to think you're not good enough, you look down, you never rise, you don't look up. When your spirituality has been damaged, you see other people as superior. I don't care what your educational accolades may be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because when you feel inferior, when you come around and they don't even have to have the same academic achievement as you, you still feel inferior because it's a psychological damage. It has nothing to do with your attainments in life. It is because you've been conditioned to think. Now, when you come around people that look like you, that's when your academic achievement becomes a big deal. You want to pump yourself up. I got PhD, I've got this, and these people don't. But you don't do that when you're around those who have conditioned you to believe that just your being is inferior. Got nothing to do with your achievement, because you have to ask yourself, what did you achieve? What did you achieve? You know how to regurgitate their knowledge? What makes you superior then? You see what I'm saying? But you will be around me, around people that look like you, and you assume that because you have all this European knowledge, then somehow you are superior. But when you're around those Europeans who have beaten you down and told you you're inferior, it doesn't matter that you have a PhD. You act like you're inferior to them. I can tell you a bunch of high schoolers can make a PhD black man cow.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Am I right or am I wrong? Give me a check that.
Yeah, there's one basic problem wrong with the Abrahamic religion, and that is monotheism. And the foundation is henotheism. The belief that there's only one way to God. Any other way that does not kowtow with that established way is bunkum. That is the basic problem with all Abrahamic religions. And so for that, they cannot offer love, but one-sided love. They cannot offer peace, but peace of the graveyard. Because for Christianity or Islam, until the whole world become Christian, there will be no peace. And so for Islam, so you see both of them, struggling to have the world to themselves, holding on people's necks. I remember one time when in my car, we're driving to my chief priest home, and then he looked around and he shook his head. He said, what Christianity and Islam is going to do to Africa in the next 10, 20 years, we will not be able to describe it. And I said, what did you see? He said, because people are restless. People are supposed to rest. They are on the road because they want to go. Christianity is forcing them to go to church every day, and Islam is competing with Christianity, and people are busy. They are not resting. You see people, they are touchy, hearty, because they are being given assignments that they cannot cope with. Go and bring this amount to build this church. Go and bring that amount to build that church. And so that is the problem with all religions that convert. As soon as any religion believes in converting people, that religion is not practicing spirituality, but is participating in conquest. So, and they talk about the soul hunt. The soul hunt is not for soul hunting, is to increase the number so that they can empower themselves the more, get more money, spread the gospel, spread their tentacles all over the world, and dominate people, control politics, control economy, control everything. And so when they talk about Armageddon, they are the Armageddon. So that's why African spirituality offers the solution. And the solution it offers is that God is one, and you do not need any medium like Christ or Muhammad to get to God. because every soul is a direct incarnation from God. All of us have a chi, and that chi comes from Chukwu Okike. And every one of us have that divinity of divineness in us. We do not need to get it through Christ, but in Christianity, that divinity has been given to Christ, and it's only through the grace of Christ that you get it. In Islam, it has been embedded only in Islam. It's only when you are a Muslim that you get it. But that is not for African traditional religion, for Chiism. For Chiism says all of us come from God. And so it's one God, but as many ways as possible. But all the ways must replicate humanity, promote humanity. All the ways must come together and cooperate for there to be a peaceful world. And that is what we got to offer to the world.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dibia Yudi. Thank you for your wonderful, wonderful contributions today. We have people who are celebrating birthdays today, so we want to say happy birthday. But on that note, we're going to end this segment and thank everyone for watching. Yagazino.
Yagazia.
Mama.
Okay.